Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Untuk lecture kali ini, saya akan berkongsi dengan semua pelajar dengan satu topik yang mana this is one of the most important topic in studying heritage building conservation. So the topic that I will share with all of you today is on the importance of dilapidation survey in conservation of heritage building. Okay, so this is showing in this slide. You can see that this is some of the example of some dilapidated elements in buildings that normally occurred in heritage building. And if you can see, there are many types of defects that you can identify. For example, the plant growth, the dampness, and then this one is the dilapidated roof tiles and many more. Okay, so we go to the conservation process. Okay, in doing a DELAP survey, or we call it as a building condition survey. So this is the process that has been referred to Jabatan Warisan Negara. So if you see from this slide, this is the conservation process, which actually has been stated in the JWN Conservation Guidelines in section 2. Okay, so one of the item that has been included in the conservation process is doing the DELAP survey report. Okay, so in doing a dilapidation survey report, so what actually one should know is about the framework of it, which actually the framework must include 5 elements, which is historical research, heritage significance, as-built drawings, or sometimes known as measured drawings, condition or dilapidation survey report. So this is the most important part of the report. And the last part is the conservation proposal. But this conservation proposal, it depends on the project needs. Sometimes the proposal is included in the DELAP report, but in other times there are many reports that not include the conservation proposal. So the purpose of having this DELAP survey report, so the DELAP report actually is a vital information to the owner to know their building condition, and it also very important in providing detailed information for the consultant teams. So based on this DELAP report, the consultant will know what actually or what is the actual condition of that particular buildings. Then only they know what they should do and what kind of remedy that they should have for that particular buildings. And the report actually will help to give a competitive pricing during tender exercise, because from the DELAP report we know what kind of defects and what actually the stage of the defects, and project managers to know how, what and where during contract implementation. And the report also help in providing a thorough information for contractor to plan the works. So this report actually is to complete the HAPS 1. Part of the JWN requirement for the documentation of heritage conservation. Okay, so what is a DLAP report? So DLAP report is a condition inspection and report assisted with photographs and visual inspection. It is undertaken prior to works commencing and after works completion of the adjacent development. And it is very important as well to document any cracks, damage, change of a property before and after the works of the adjacent site. And in a normal circumstances, the DLAP report is normally required, is a required document in building contract. Meaning, in heritage building conservation project, so the DLAP report will become parts of the document in building contract. So dalam contract tu nanti, the DLAP report ni will be becoming, as attachment ke, so dia akan attach to the building contract ataupun the contract document. So the DLAP report ni is it is an intrusive report which identifies and record the existing building conditions through photography, visual site inspection and material testing. So it involves in-depth analysis of the existing defects and the probable cause. And also the DLAP actually will help to propose methods and techniques of the conservation, in terms of the treatment and the repair. This is the basic required equipments. So I'm sure students that very familiar with condition report. So you are actually very familiar with all these kind of equipments that normally used during the condition surveying or DLAP survey. So if you see from this slide, this is the laser thermometer, moisture meter, SLR camera. But nowadays, people just use the handphone because we have quite high pixel for handphone, and it gives a very sharp photos. And drone now actually many projects actually involve using the drone because sometimes the building cannot be accessed, especially at the rooftop. So drone actually is very very useful for this for this particular area. And of course the measuring tapes and computer and laser distance. So this is laser distance is one of the familiar equipment that has been used in condition survey report. So what and where to start? So in doing the DLAP report, so the things that we need to focus on at the early part of the survey is the historical research, the heritage significance of the building, and we need to obtain drawings or any information from stakeholders or owners. And also at the early part of the survey, normally the appointed consultant will prepare the as-built drawings or the measured drawings, and of course the site investigation and survey. So this is just to show the defects investigation through, doing through aerial photography. And this is the drone. Okay. And this is how actually the defects of a rooftop investigation being reached by using the scaffolding. And this photo actually is showing the roof of Parliament buildings, our Parliament buildings in Kuala Lumpur. And if you notice that sometimes there are defect investigation through material testing. So this is more, this is involve more in-depth analysis. And let's say if we want to know what is the composition of the lime plaster, what is the composition of the certain material in that particular building. So the material testing need to be done. And by doing this material testing, the sampling materials to be removed from an approved location, and it must be sealed and labeled before sending to the lab. And this is to show how actually the defects recording through site investigation. So gambar yang paling kiri ni adalah for the paint analysis. How actually the method of and the techniques that normally done for paint analysis. Okay, so yang ni just to measure the brick, the size of the bricks. Because sometimes the bricks, it can be in a different size. Old bricks actually is not similar to the modern bricks, so that actually will tell you something about the building. And this is to show some other investigation methods like taking samples. So but this is more detail parts. Not all buildings need this kind of method when handling the DLAP survey. And this is the detailed investigation methods. This is more detailed by automated monitoring systems. Okay. And we go to this is one of the example using by one of the consultant in mural. This is the sample murals from the Museum Negara. You can see here. Okay. So they have to do a very detailed study on the wall surface, and some more this mural actually it has a lot of motif. So the detailed investigation, imaging need to be done to get the real image in order to preserve and conserve the items, the surface. Okay. Well, when we are studying about defects in heritage building, actually water is one of the major cause to building defects. Like for example, based on the analysis that has been done for non-structural defects. So this is some of the inputs from the consultant that has been obtained. Due to the water, so it causes a rising dam, harmful vegetation growth, algae and fungus growth, and it also act as an agent for chloride attack, moisture dampness, termite infestation, slope failure, corrosion in metal, peeling paint, spoiled building elements, and damaged rainwater goods. While for the CNS defect, it may cause an unsafe foundation, leaning wall, collapsed wall, floor or roof, major cracks, exposed steel bars, structural steel corrosion, sewer system movement and sap. While for M&E defects, it may cause an exposed wirings, faulty fittings, cross-ducting, and water tank corrosion. So all these defects actually we can analyze based on the visual inspection. So this is one of the photo showing an example of the defects in heritage building causing by water. So due to the, the building has been left for so many years, abandoned for so many years, which actually caused the defects. So this is also one of the example. This is the tunnel in Kuala Lumpur, made from the bricks. And this is also an example of the defects on the wall surface causing by water. This one. Okay, this photo actually showing the defects causing by human intervention, meaning that when doing the building renovation, they didn't follow proper guidelines, and they just bulldoze all the works, and they just add any walls, wherever they want. So this actually may cause the defects to the original buildings. And this is human intervention. Okay. This one also. This is the photo actually is showing the main or the grand staircase that located in Masjid Jamek Kuala Lumpur. So previously, this staircase actually has been closed by the, they just put a soil on top of the staircase, so which caused actually a very major defects to the staircase. This is due to the lack of maintenance. So I'm sure you guys are very familiar with this kind of defects. And in reality, actually, in Malaysia, so we have so many cases where building is lacking in terms of maintenance, which cause many defects. Okay, this is due to human intervention and ignorance, lacking of maintenance. Okay, then we go to the documentation. Okay, this is the historical research. Each time you do the DLAP, so you must do the historical research thoroughly, so that then only you may get the original information, the original history of the buildings and so on. So this is very important. And this is the example of SBIT drawing. Okay, very detailed drawings to show the layout of the buildings. So this is the elevation drawings. You can see the drawing is very detailed, with all the windows details and door details. Okay, this is the photo, the real photo, but with the grid lines. So you can compare this photogrammetric with the elevation that has been drawn. So this is some detailed drawings of the window. So all this actually should be included in SBIT drawing or measured drawings. And this is an example of SBIT drawing of the floor tiles on that particular buildings. So also you have to draw it. You have to draw it. Okay, this is the elevation testing. So this is just an example of how to show the testing result. Okay, so just to show you an example of how actually the DLAP report helps in terms of making decision when handling the conservation project. So this is the before conservation works. Okay, then this is the drawing to show the after conservation works. Okay, so this is the investigation result that can be found from the building. Okay, so with that, I just would like to say that the DLAP report actually is one of the important document before you proceed with any conservation works in heritage building. So you cannot miss the DLAP report. So you have to do it because the DLAP actually will help in many aspects of the buildings. I mean, from the DLAP, you will be able to decide on what kind of works that you should do, what kind of repair works that you should attend to, and what actually you want to decide on that particular buildings. Either you want to have a total conservation works, or you just want to have a minor repairs, or maybe if you want to go towards the adaptive reuse of that particular buildings, then you will understand more on what actually you should do on that particular buildings based on the lab report that has been done. Okay, so with that, thank you so much.